Hello, welcome or welcome back. I put the description of this video, the upcoming lesson, in the beginning of this video, so I don't need to explain what we are going to do. I just want to say that I'm very excited for this upcoming lesson. So excited that this is like the 11th time I started this video, and let's keep it at that. I just keep rolling from now on. I don't want to start again. Let's take it for what it is, like a personal experience, unrehearsed. And let's start with the lesson, shall we? What we need today is some floor space to lie down to rest. Sometimes, but most of the time, we will be kneeling. So we will explore how to come from kneeling to standing, but we will use that as a vehicle for exploring movement qualities, to improve how we move. That rhymes, improve how we move. And for that we need this movement sequence. What else will you need? I have a little blanket for my knees, so we will be kneeling. You could even take a cushion, but if you have a too high of a cushion, you will be unstable, and we are looking for balance and stability. So having an unstable surface, that's kind of a learning tool, isn't it? But maybe it's too much. So like a folded up blanket will do, just fold it enough so that you're able to kneel. Yeah, and it will be a classic kneeling, just to stand on the knees, and I find that difficult enough, to be honest. And one question would be, should you have the toes standing or flat? And I propose flat in the beginning, just to hold balance better, like this. Did you do my buttocks video, the last video? I think that's a good one to improve the whole kneeling thing. So see, I'm already walking around. So are you comfy on your knees, standing on your knees? So I will introduce the first movement. So this video has like two parts. This is the first part, where we explore how to bring one foot to stand. And let's start with the right one. So one foot will be easier for you than the other one, or one knee will be better than the other one. Please start with the one that you feel more comfortable with. Comfort first. And the movement is, so I will use my right leg to bring the right foot to stand, and then bring the right foot back to kneeling. So you're kneeling on, so that's our movement. End of the video. If you feel unstable, please, by all means, take a chair or something to lean against. And so just make yourself comfortable. And continue with this movement of bringing your right foot, stay with the same side, don't switch from side to side, but stay with one leg, and see how you do that. If it's possible at first, we do it free, without hands. But see, this is not a fitness class. This is like we explore movement, we like humans. And don't bring up your leg like a machine, like on a straight path, but allow yourself to arc your leg. You have hip joints, you have a pelvis, you have a spine, you have a head. And so that's one of our first explorations to how to improve this movement. Please stand your foot, and then, so for me it's the right foot, and then lean. For me, it's the right elbow. Lean on your knee. So just see. And that's actually something that's nice. I feel supported, so that your weight travels down. Like this is a leg, and then the weight travels down your leg, and then on the bottom end of your leg is a foot. marvelous construction. If you care to look that up, or if you know about anatomy, like the arches of the foot and the many parts, the many tendons and bones. And then there's a line of force where your weight falls onto the foot and the arches start to carry. This alone is like a marvel of nature. And in this position, start to bend to the left. So I have the right foot standing. So if you have the right foot standing, bend to the left, bend to the side where there is no foot. Or you could lean with your hands on your knee and bend to the side. And we have lessons and videos with side bending on the floor. Like one of the last videos where you have the hands behind your back on the floor and you do all this perfection of side bending, I call it, I think, or harmonizing this movement. And it's the same if you're in a kneeling position. So if your knee is hurting, just take a break and then come back to this position. You can always pause the video. So for side bending, there is a neck, even if we're standing, so the left ear can come closer to the left shoulder. So it is a side bending motion of the cervical spine. We can say what is visible, the spine is not visible, but the neck is visible. So it's a side bending of the neck and a side bending of the shoulders, and it's a side bending of the chest. And of course, there's something happening in the pelvis. And in fact, you're balancing over your left knee when you do this. When you lean, these are simple mechanics. I mean, nothing is simple with us humans, isn't it? But if you lean forwards, you're on your foot, and if you lean a little bit backwards, you're more on your left knee, over your left hip joint. So you're balancing your pelvis and your whole torso on this ball joint. And in a healthy hip joint, the friction between the ball of your femur, of your upper leg, and the socket of your pelvis in a healthy hip joint, this is more slippery than ice on ice. It's like really well oiled, so you can really feel it's slippery, it's very mobile, and there is a highest point where you are on top of it, where you can balance, and then where you can start to side bend a little bit to the side and come back up again. So we need to enter this like kind of meditative alpha state, just to calm down, quiet down, and start to feel how it is to side bend to the left. And you could use the magic chair or couch, or if there's nothing, you could lean down. So that's our next motion, to lean on the floor, or to lean with your hand or your elbow on the knee and do this side bending. And come up again. Side bend, side bend, side bend, side bend, side bend, side bend. And come up again to explore how it is to side bend in kneeling. Do we need a break? I feel a little bit tired, so I will sit down like this. You could sit down on the chair, you could lie down. I would not recommend unless you stop the video, because this will be like a 5-second break. It's over already, so please come up again. Bring your right foot to stand and then lean on your left hand. It depends. You could lean on the chair or on the floor. Maybe it is even not just more sportive to lean on the floor, but the position is more clear. Lean to the left, or lean to the front. And when you lean on your left hand, however you want to do that, just make sure that this is a side bending. And then your right leg, apparently your right leg is free to roam, and we will give the right leg something to do. Please, right leg, come to stand on the right knee, and then you come back onto the knee, So the weight is on the left hand, and bring your right foot to stand on the foot, the right foot to stand, or the right knee to stand. So find a position that you like, that you feel comfortable with, and then go slower. And here and this is the, come closer, this is the magic of this lesson. When you do this really slowly, you will become able to observe, notice mistakes as like parts of the movement where you go faster, where you just like, there's something wrong, so you go faster and then you go slower again. And don't do that. Try to go equally slow. Keep the same speed throughout the whole motion of having your right knee standing or your right foot standing, and do that with an arching movement and a side bending. So go slow enough that you can feel when there's a jerky part, a fast part, that means you're holding somewhere in your chest. Very likely that you're like, the neck is tense, or the shoulders are tense, or the arm, something, the pelvis is not moving, and you have a spine. The spine goes from the head down to where there's no more spine, and the whole thing can side bend. So you shift your weight to the left so that your weight comes over your left knee, over your left hip joint, and the right leg becomes free to move. So this can be either a side bending to the left or a shifting of the weight to the left. And when you lift your right knee, this might be a side bending to the right. Really depends also on how far you lean down. So when you're floating up without using your hands, you shift the weight to the left, and then it's maybe a little bit more of a side bending to the right. You shift the weight to the left, and then it's more of a side bending to the right. But then there's also the breathing. So observe yourself doing this movement. You side bend, the chest needs to be soft and free. The head needs to be allowed to drop to the left. And so your weight comes more onto your left leg, and then the right leg can come forward, until it finds its place. That's another thing. Allow your foot to find its place instead of placing your right foot where you think it should be. How do we even know where it should go? So it's better to follow the movement. Observe, you move and you observe, and then the foot finds its place where it can stand. So an uninterrupted movement with no jerky parts, slowly, and you're breathing. So you observe your movement and your breathing. At no point should you stop breathing, or at no point should you hold your breath. So you have to do that slowly enough that you can be aware of your breath, the 4 parts of your breath: in breath, pause, out breath, pause, however long each part is, but that there is no constriction, that you that there's not a moment where you stop. And you can either lean with your hand on the floor or lean on the chair. So just we use the leaning of the hand to take away burden, load from the chest, just to make the balancing easier and to be able to find these small mistakes. So we did this detailed work, and this is what I really love about this lesson. It's a kind of meditation, but it's not just like an awareness, like there's a mindfulness and awareness, and I have practiced some of these methods for years before I found this method I'm teaching now. And what I loved, for example, about this movement is I have to be very aware of what I'm doing, about my breath, but I have this movement of the leg, and my leg is big and the side bending is big. These are big movements, and it gives me something to think about, and it's easy to feel. And it will lead to a meaningful movement from kneeling to standing. It's very useful. And when we learn these qualities now with this movement, we can use them in previous lessons and in later lessons. So when we do more difficult movements, it's easy to make these mistakes, like tensioning up or stopping the breath, and then any further movements will be more difficult or even impossible. And then there's lessons in this method, like for example the bell hand lessons, where you close your hand and open your hand and you're in lying, and these are so subtle. So in this way you're just lying on the floor and moving minimally, and I find these very advanced lessons because you have to have such a refined ability to observe yourself, and you have to be able to move in so much detail. But with this movement of getting the leg to standing, this is suitable for all levels of movers. Okay, so we have had the leaning on the leg, we have had the leaning on the floor. We could lean on both. No, we cannot, because we need to move the leg. And try to more and more be independent of your hands, so that you can balance. You are able to side bend and balance without the help of the hands, but still without stopping the movement, without stopping the breath. You keep breathing, you keep moving, you keep subtle up the body, a soft neck, eyes that can look around in the room at any moment, see what's happening. Use your senses to be aware, alert, not too alert, but aware of your environment, and still be able to do the movement in an uninterrupted manner. So how cool is that? In the end, it needs to be your organization needs to be such that it can accommodate the movement, that it can make the movement possible. Not only possible, but you are the movement. You are the motion of getting your foot to stand or your knee to stand, without the need for your arms to balance, but the arms can be free, the head can be free, the neck does not need to tense up. But see how much tension do you need? What is necessary and what is not necessary for this movement? So that's the thing. What is necessary to do this movement? How much do I have to side bend? How far do I have to bring out my foot? Move out my foot? How much do I have to hold or not hold? Where do I hold? Where can I be free? Alright, so done. Was failed. What's missing? The other leg. So please come to stand on both knees again. So this time we need the chair on the other side. So we can stand your left foot or the other foot and lean on your right knee. And stand your left foot. and then just do this, if it's possible, without leaning with your hands anywhere, and see one side is easier than the other side. One side is really easier, but this is not the fault of the leg. It's not the problem of the leg. It's a problem of the chest, the shoulders, the neck, the breathing. So let's start with leaning against your knee. So you lean on your left knee, and then start the side bending to the right. That's where for me there's the chair, or there is nothing on the floor. So side bending means the right ear can come closer to the right shoulder, and the arms are relaxed, and it's side bending and come up again. Just I should keep my eyes free, so keep the eyes free. Look, what are you doing? I can see what. To the right, or lean with your right hand to the right of you, and when you have this like tripod situation, bring your left knee to stand in an arc. So it's not a straight up robot-like line, but we are a human. We have a pelvis, we have a hip joint, we have vertebra, we have a spine, which can be soft, a breathing that can be uninterrupted. So make use of all that, and if you are a human, the leg will move in an arc, but of course the arc could be too big. So there's what is necessary. Do what is necessary. Side bend. That's also the spine. Your spine is able to, you might be able to feel that your spine can side bend to one side easier than the other side, and this really shows now. So we could use, so in this way we could call this one an advanced lesson, because in order to have a nice side bending, we would have to do other lessons first. But we explore side bending now, and the lower back and the pelvis and the balancing on your right hip joint. And it's really focusing on the movement. And you could do this like an awareness or like a mindfulness. So I take a short break, like a mindfulness exercise in other areas of your life. For example, I rediscovered this little game because I bought an Apple TV, and I rediscovered the game Labyrinth. And while I'm rolling the ball on the game field, I noticed that I tense up because it's so exciting, and the ball is so slippery and rolly around. And so I really focus on relaxing my shoulders, relaxing my chest, and not interrupt my breathing while I'm playing this game. So you might find areas in your life where you can practice this mindfulness, this awareness, where you are moving, where you're doing something like that doesn't require a lot of thought. Check in within yourself and become aware of how you breathe, how you hold yourself, and that you don't tense up, and then you can feel all those little details in your, maybe even you tense up in your eyes, or you tense up your jaw or something. Just the moment you tense up, don't tense up. Just let yourself flow. Sometimes in Feldenkrais classes we talk about reversibility to improve the movement. So when you start to side bend, when you start to when you start to move your leg in an arc, you could stop at any moment and reverse it or bring it further. And then, of course, what do we need to do next? Combine those two motions. Start with kneeling, be on your knees, and then stand your right foot and bring your right leg back to kneel on your right knee, and then stand your left foot and bring it back. So we'll do this and that. And then bring the right foot back and then bend to the other side. And then, whoops. So, I focus to stay relaxed, that the whole spine can bend. Okay, so what else? We could do the same thing with leaning on the floor or leaning on a chair, and use the weight on the arms as a means to help with, maybe I need the chair on the other side, so to lean over there, and we use the weight on the arms to be able to move slower, to have not that much weight on the hip joints, and so we can find mistakes easier, or as a learning tool I use even less weight on the arms. Little by little start to use your arms less until hands free, whoop, without using the arms at all. So the arms can just hang. And I don't know how the brain does that, like this marvelous piece of brain inside the skull that's hidden inside, nobody can see it. It kind of does these things for us so that we are able to move like this. Okay, or the hands on the floor, balance, counterbalance a little, until we don't need the hands anymore. And then let's see how much do we actually need to side bend? How much does the foot need to arc? All right, so let's say this is the first part of the lesson, so take a break on the back. So maybe this is the best part. We need to move the chair again. Okay, just take a short break, well deserved, and we need these kind of breaks so that the brain can do what the brain's supposed to do. Alright, so now for the second part of the video. Are you ready? Please come up to stand on your knees again. And let's start with my easier side. Bring your right foot to stand. So you're leaning on your left knee. Bring your left toes to stand. Now the toes need to stand like in a running position. And I have this video called towards Japanese sitting, where we work with standing the toes to at least stand a little bit. All right, so the toes are standing, the left knee is standing, the right foot is standing. And how do we start? Do we start upright or do we start leaning? We start leaning. Please lean on your right knee. So allow your foot to find a place where you have the feeling you're really leaning on the foot. And again, you can see there's proof on the video. There is a foot with a big toe, and I have four little toes. It is here. So now lift your left knee off the floor a little bit, just 5 centimeters, 2 inches, or 1 inch. So lift your left knee. And in order to do that, you have to shift your weight onto your right foot. And you also have to shift some weight onto the big toe of your left foot, or the space in between the big toe and the second toe. But your left foot, help with your left foot to lift your knee. So, and part 1 of this lesson already happened, and it's not forgotten. Keep in mind what we have learned about side bending, about having your breathing freely. Continue to breathe freely, continue to side bend, allow your pelvis to participate when you shift your weight onto your feet, onto your right side, over your right side. So you shift your weight more over your right side, of course. So in order to allow your left knee to lift a little bit slowly and to come back down on the floor, and it should be a soft landing, like a kiss, very soft landing, not a bang, but a soft touch. And maybe your right foot is too far away, or your left foot, you're too something. Allow yourself to find the position and press against, stand on the toes of your left foot. So I know I'm aware that there's YouTube channels where they teach to press through the heel only. So in these channels they act like there is no foot, the foot is disappear. And instead of a leg you have a stick, and you press down on that stick, and you don't have a left leg, and you don't have a spine and nothing, you only have a stick, and you have to press down here. So I will not talk about this. Allow your foot, your right foot to be a right foot, and allow your left foot to be a left foot, and lift your left knee and bring it back down. And take breaks whenever you need. Okay. Now, with leaning on the floor. The right foot is standing, and then bring your left hand to lean on the floor. So you distribute the weight and stand your left foot and lift your knee. So your pelvis comes up and your head and shoulders dive down. So the higher your pelvis comes up, the more closer your head is coming to the floor. You could lean on your knee and on the floor, or you could lean on a chair and lift your left knee and lean on your left So, and maybe I need to say, if you have shoes, if you're wearing shoes that turn your feet into something else so that your feet can't work as feet, then you will have problems with this motion. So it's good to either be barefoot or to wear barefoot running shoes, or whatever feet wear will help your feet to be feet. Okay, so, and then little by little, use less of your hands. So find the organization so you can do the same thing, like press down through your left toe. Of course you press down on your right foot, but it works like a foot. You have like the arches of the foot, you have like everything, and the purpose is to lift the pelvis and allow everything to move and side bend as it needs, so to make it a smooth, uninterrupted movement, and uninterrupted also in regard to your breathing. And then we combine the motions that we have so far. So stand your right knee. So you're on both knees. Then you side bend as much as you need to bring your right foot to stand. A shifting of the weight to the left. And when you lift your right knee, this might be a side bending to the right. Then you stand the toes of your left foot, and then you lift your left knee. You rise higher and come back down on your foot and knee, and then stand both knees. And then we don't use the arms. And we just have a relaxed chest and neck and a free head, a head that can move in any direction. And use your hands at any time you think you need support. You need to distribute your weight on more points. And when you are smoother, when you found your composition, start to use less of your hands. So you can detect mistakes whenever they become apparent, and you can smoothen out the movement. So you start to feel when you push, in which directions, where you move your weight. So you become aware of what you're doing when you do something. Like all these details. And then this can be a smooth motion that can lead us to a very smooth, almost weightless way of coming up to stand. And so now my head is going to be cut off. Wide angle. All right, okay, so let's do the same thing with the other leg. For me, it's the left one. So stand on both knees, bring your left leg to stand, and lean on your left knee, stand your right toes, shift your weight, side bend over, of course, your left side, so that press your, what do we need to press? We need to press the right toe. We need to press on the right foot. This needs to go. We have a right leg. So this is proof. You can see it on video. This is not a CGI graphics. There is a leg. So we're going to use it. And you have that leg and you're going to use it. Press down on the right toe to lift your right knee. But also, of course, weight is going onto the left foot and not just on the left heel, because this is not a stick. You can see the chair, it has a stick leg, and you can see there's a big difference between this wooden leg and this is like a leg in flesh and blood and with tendons and nervous systems and Golgi organs, and there's all sorts of technology in the leg. So there's a big difference between a wooden leg and a human leg. So we are going to use the human leg. That's all I'm going to say about this. So please push down on both legs until you can. So if you have your right hand down for learning, so the weight is kind of equally on your left hand and your left elbow and your right hand, just to be able to feel the smoothness, so the pelvis comes up, the head goes down, and then you use less of your hands and less of your hands, and then we combine. I will wrap this up quickly now. So a combination of standing on the kneeling on the knees, and then bring the left foot to stand and lift, and of course the right toes, and lift the pelvis until you stand. Okay, and back down again, and there we are. So as a last movement of this, combine both sides. So stand on both. Maybe it's more efficient to stand the toes right from the beginning, right from the start. Okay, stand the toes. My friend the chair has wooden legs, 4 pieces. And I also have 4 limbs that I can use as legs, but they will never be the same like those. It just doesn't work the same way. It's different. It's not the same. Okay, so please. So now stand one leg, lift the pelvis, you're standing, and then I had the right foot standing. Now keep the left foot standing. Go down on the other side. Go up with one foot first, and then bring that foot back first. Or the other way around. And then is really the question, maybe remove this, how much of an arc do I need? So the foot doesn't go by itself in any strange direction, but the foot stays in alignment with the knee. Even if the leg arches, the foot goes together. The foot is not independent, something totally else. The foot is attached to the knee and to the leg, and to everything moves together. So, and that's a poor fitness exercise because it's such an because it's so easy. Where's the muscles to train, to harden up, to tense up, to become so well defined? If you do it like this, if it's a well done movement, there's my God, how many of these things can we do before we have legs like Usain Bolt? It's like this movement is in our structure, and it can be really well organized so that it's not so easy, not so easy to use it as a fitness exercise, but it's like an awareness exercise, and then it's easy to do. And it should be easy, because sometimes we need to pick something up from the floor, and we shouldn't be afraid to go down on the floor. It should be easy. Okay, so let's leave it at this. Maybe I am a little bit exhausted. Maybe it is a fitness exercise.
I encourage you to learn the movements of this lesson by heart and play with them on your own terms, in your own time. Be playful, explore, investigate, be creative. And don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes help us to go deeper. Just keep in mind all the things I mentioned in this lesson, and to stay safe, to stay within your comfort zone, to never go into pain. I keep learning and exploring. I make mistakes. My movements are as flawed as those of the next person. I am a movement teacher, but I am also a student. I often return to a beginner's mindset. And doing so, I make the most interesting discoveries. Sometimes I stumble upon a small detail, such as the question of when and where to side bend in this lesson. And by pondering this question, through movement, through reflection and careful consideration, through sensing and feeling, I'm making my milestones and keep growing in my personal movement practice. Furthermore, I'm using these movements with my clients and students. For example, here you can see me working with Amanda, who had a meniscus repair surgery 3 months ago. Amanda had excellent medical care in Switzerland. However, since she's been in pain for such a long time already, she was looking for a gentle and yet functional approach for her movement practice at home. I've been working with Amanda over the past 5 weeks, and just this week, in session number 8, I found her ready for this lesson and carefully introduced the first couple of movements to her. For me, it's marvelous to see how she's making significant progress just within minutes. When you're ready, then you're ready. Needless to say that she appreciates these teachings and that she is well within her rehabilitation milestones.
I hope you found this interesting. As interesting as I find it, because I'm going to continue to work with this lesson, explore this motion more. Thank you for watching. Please share if you liked it. Leave a comment if you want to share your experience with others. I will read your comments and see you in the next video.